That's why they upped it to 2 months, which is the longest they can put you on there.
Yeah.
To go in there. Look, until the legal part of that is resolved, do not let him anywhere near a baseball field. He's accused of having a relationship with a 14-year-old girl. Leave him on administrative leave until you get it sorted out. The gross part about it is because they can't technically suspend him under the MLBPA rules until this thing is settled, paid leave. Paid leave. Yeah. So
that is what's trending here on
about
Cody and Gold. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll be joined by our guy Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, who, of course, will have his on-deck show starting at 2 o'clock. But we'll get his thoughts on this season over an hour or so ago, and he'll join us on set here, and looking forward to that. Someone says, just now tuning in, are you guys sporting the Borgs today? No Borgs, this year. That was
someone
last
did
year.
bring us a drink, and I'm drinking it.
Yeah, we're drinking some corks out here, and we appreciate that very much.
Mine's a pineapple orange whip.
This is apricot, or peach, I'm sorry.
You like peach? It's peach
yeah,
apricot. It's both.
But I usually, same with the Propel. I like the peach flavored, like in drinks. I kind of do.
You're a peach?
Yeah.
Do you like peaches?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, then of course you like peach flavor.
But you know that's not the.
I know, it's like grape, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's a. So, yeah, definitely. Grape is
the
way
worst.
different. It's a
Grape
way different.
flavor versus actual grapes is a stark difference, yes.
I wanted to go back to something JJ Piccolo said a couple minutes ago with us. We were discussing projections, and I asked him about, like, hey, you know, you've the division, and you guys have internal projections. And then you followed up and asked him how it compared to last year's projections.
Sure.
And he said, like 5 or 6 wins different. And a few people texted in.
They're like, whoa.
And I think if you hear it just like that, you're like, wait, only 5 or 6 more than what they won last year? No. Not saying that up from 56. 5 or 6 wins compared to last year's projection, which might have been 70 or 71 wins. So therefore, you can put 2 and 2 together. The projection this year internally, and he acknowledged, look, it's not an exact science. It changes all the time. You're in that 76 mark.
I can say for a fact that their win total projections last year had this team in the 70s, is the way it was put to me at the time. In the 70s. So that might have been 71. That might have been 72, 73, right? If it's 73, they're saying 5 or 6 wins puts them close to 80, which is the same range we're all predicting them to be in. That doesn't seem way off base. Now, you could say, what the hell happened to your internal projections last year? They were way off. Well, they were. They were way off. The Royals admitted that. They underperformed based on the talent they thought they had. They also thought they had a better rotation and a better bullpen, and all of the young guys that they had drafted years back weren't good. And when they weren't good, that sunk the team back to where they were. And so that part of the problem was there. But no, the Royals' internal projections don't have them as a 61-win team.
No. 5 or 6 more than last year's
projections, which means they think they're in the mid-70s to low 80s.
And earlier in the show, we were going through, prior to even knowing that answer, by the way, we were going through our win totals like everybody does, the fun time of the year. Everybody's optimistic and going through. You have the Royals as a 76-win team. We didn't know this before the show, by the way, team. So we're all in that 76, 78 win. And it's a huge increase. No doubt. Going from 56 wins to 76 or 78. No, it's massive.
Plus win increase.
But I don't think it's that crazy in terms of the jump when you think about the roster turnover. And that's only 7 players are on this opening day roster that were on last year's. Now, some of it, there's some guys that are on IL. I get it. But there's also some that aren't even going to be on a big league roster for teams across baseball. And so that tells you right then and there, well, frankly, how bad of a roster. I mean, it's the reason why they won 56 games. It was not a good roster a year ago. And so, of course, you turn it over. They did, and that's why I think there's some more optimism with this team this year.
That number is really shocking when you think 7. And, look, it would have been 8 if Michael Massey was healthy. Okay, so 8. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. 18 different players? 19 different players? I mean, that's not just roster turnover. That's 2/3. 65 is not the same from last year. And, by the way, a huge chunk of that is in the pitching. And for good damn reason.
Well, the whole bullpen's revamped.
I'll be honest.
The rotation's got 2 new pieces.
I did find it interesting that they were considering Lugo as an opening day starter. I think that was probably to not put the pressure on Reagans because...
We talked about that before the season.
Look, I get it, but also he's the guy who has a chance to win a Cy Young for you. But that also means they speak incredibly highly of Lugo. That means they think equally highly of Lugo. Do you hear that? Like, so if they think Reagans and Lugo are both really good starters, damn, how good is your rotation going to be? Because Walker's at least stable. Has been an incredibly stable pitcher. And then Marsh is the wild card at the back end.
Yeah, but I'm fine with that as my 5th. I'm fine with that as my 5th. And Alec, you did know for sure what you were getting from Lyles. He was going to eat a bunch of innings.
I don't think I thought it was going to be quite that bad, but yeah, I didn't know it was going to be great.
He was going to eat innings, but, I mean, as a fan, I can tell you, let alone from the clubhouse, when he was stepping on the mound up until the end of the season when we were having fun with the Champagne Lyles stuff, and we appreciate that forever, you didn't feel good about your chances to win a game. Now, Alec Marsh, we could be saying the same thing in 3 months. I don't know. But right now, you feel like you got a chance. Some of it is hey, you've never seen him fail as a starter yet.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What if he has a 4 run average and starts 25 games?
What if he ends up being better? I mean, these are all things that have to happen for them to have the really special year where they surprise everybody and they go above.
And they get 88 wins. Yeah, Marsh is great. He's not just good. He's not just a fifth starter. He's great.
A ton has to happen for them to win 80+. Nobody. And that's why none of us are projecting that. But it takes guys, to get 80+. Reagans has to play almost near what he was at the end of last season, which was Cy Young type.
It's hard. Vinny
has to be healthy all year. MJ has to be like he was in the second half. Velasquez, needs to be not on the same pace as he was home run wise.
So he hit 70 home runs,
but half, even a quarter of that, or a half of that, I should say. That's the kind of stuff that's how they have the really special season that shocks everybody. But it's fun because you can mention it, and I honestly don't think it's ludicrous to say that they could be close to 80-win team. Obviously, I don't because I said it's 78. You said 76. We obviously don't think it's that far off.
I really do. Sometimes I think that I think some people take the guessing of numbers seriously, and some are just some are Bob, right? In fairness, he knows that.
What was his number he gave to?
I don't know, 162-0 probably, right? I just mentioned reference for the Chiefs, hypothetically, right?
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
No, I don't care. We all do it our own way, but when I was looking at the win totals, I honestly sat down and I thought hard about it. I was like, where do I think they rank in the American League amongst pitching staffs, amongst offenses, amongst star power, amongst ability to beat these teams and the teams that were in the playoffs last year? They're going to get tested a lot in the early going. Half of their schedule in this month is against teams who were in the playoffs just last year.
It's crazy. 19 of 32 against playoff teams.
More than half of their schedule this month is against playoff teams from just last year. So look, they're going to get tested early, and I didn't want to overshoot what I thought the projections are, but they are so much better. Wins and losses. I know we hate it as a quarterback stack. Wins and losses for pitchers matter so damn much, because they're the reason you were either in a game or have no damn hope to be in a game. There were so many starts last year where this team had no damn hope to be in a game. And it's really important, I think, for these young players, as Vern, I think, has pointed out. He'll join us at 12:30. You don't want them to become, as he's put, losers, where at some point, Hunter Dozier and Whit Merrifield and a million other players on this team, they got used to losing and comfortable. Honestly, the truth is comfortable.
Yeah, showing up to the ballpark and knowing,
whatever. I guess I'll try to get a hit or two myself tonight because the rest of this doesn't matter. You can't have them believing that. And they're not talking like that. Vinny doesn't talk like that. I've asked Vinny if he has expectations for this team. He's like locked in baseball mode. He's like, no, this season is important. I know that we have expectations. I plan on living up to those expectations. They have not shied away from it. They want to win. They still have a fire and passion to win. At some point, that changed with the last group of Royals players. I desperately don't want that to happen to this
and
one.
I think that's why this entire offseason was so vital, in how they attacked it. I think even the message that's extending Bobby Witt Jr. and the fact that one of the young star players in this league was willing to sign up long-term with this organization, meaning he believes they have some of the pieces and that they're going to continue to build around him. And that was the whole conversation way before the Bobby Witt Jr. extension. We said, hey, yes, it's one thing for the Royals just to be finally willing to spend X amount of money to keep him, but they also have to sell him that they're going to continue to build a winning team around him. So they had to really sell him, I still believe, deep down, and I think the offseason certainly did that. It is a big reason why they were able to get the deal done. Yeah, the money is, of course, huge, but you got to make sure if you're Bobby Witt Jr., the money, he can get that anywhere in a couple of years if he wanted to wait.
Sure, he could have gotten it anywhere. Yeah. Somebody would have paid him that, maybe more.
He's obviously getting it in Kansas City, and I know there's opt-outs in there, and so that, hey, to me, I like that because it holds him accountable. It's not just now, but if you're not doing it in 4 years, I don't know when the first opt-out is.
Let's say they get to 78 wins this year, and he's like, don't stop yet. Yeah. I'd like to keep one. Now I want to be a playoff team. Now my expectations are, let's take this 20-win increase. And by the way, that'll give this team a ton of confidence. Let's take that 20-win increase, and I'd like to add 10 more. 12 more. And if we could do that, we're a playoff team. And baseball's wild. If you can just get into the playoffs. The Diamondbacks were objectively an incredibly mediocre team for a huge chunk of the year last year. They got into the playoffs, and then they made a run. The first year the Chiefs went to the World Series in 2014, 10 years ago now, when they went to the World Series in 2014, that was a pretty good team. It wasn't like a great team. It was a pretty good team. They made a wild card round. They came up short of the division. Then they went on a run. Runs happen in the Major League. It's not like the NFL. You can just, things happen.
I'm with you. Now, we know the difference, at least now, in the way the division is set up. And as JJ was saying, in their projections, most likely this division's getting one team in. Meaning you're going to have to win the AL Central. I don't think you're – now, look, I know the winner can still play in a wild card game.
Sure.
But in terms of being an actual wild card team, I don't think that's happening for anybody in this division. Is probably you got to win the division if you want to get in the dance. And that probably takes – to be realistic about it, I think 86-plus wins.
Probably.
To really be like, okay. Which means, again, if somehow you get to 80, that means in September you're actually within striking distance. And can you imagine what we all know what the city was like in September of 14 and 15. Can you imagine if you're just getting a little bit of a taste in August or September again this year? And that's what I've said over and over. Like, the bar is so low, man. Like,
it's crazy.
Royals fans I think are reasonable. Like, I think,
you don't think that we're unreasonable?
I think very reasonable. Like, the bar is low. A lot of fans just want to have a reason to believe all summer. You know,
I want to be out here in July and still think that there's hope.
I want to have a reason to believe and not actually be checked out in mid-May or something like that. That's kind of where I'm at. Before Vern joins us in 10 minutes, I want to ask you about more on Bobby, not the contract, but what jump could he take? You asked JJ, you were joking obviously a little bit about what are the
joking? I don't think he's going to go for 60 and 60.
Projections of what Bobby can do. He said, hey, look, it's not even so much this year, but what we think he can do in the future as well. Last year, he had an increase of I think 10 home runs.
Yeah.
And only 60 more plate appearances. That's what got him to where he was a year ago. Stolen bases, he was caught 15 times. JJ was saying, maybe it's a few less attempts, but you're at a higher efficiency, when they really need the stolen bases.
Yeah, same number of stolen bases, but you're just better at doing it.
Yeah, the ratio there. What is realistic for him? I know, yes, you can look at betting markets and see that he's 20-something to 1 to win MVP and things like that. I told you I think he does have a chance to finish top 2 and therefore be in the mix of stolen base leader in baseball. That's going to take, out of those 15, he's going to need 15 more. That's the thing, to do that. But what's realistic? Can he get to 40 home runs? I mean, that's another 10-plus home run climb.
So, and we can talk about MJ, too, with Vern, since JJ said he thinks he can hit 35 homers.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt Jr. is capable of hitting 50 home runs in a season. Do I think that'll be this season? Probably not. Normally, that kind of power and your comfort hitting with that kind of power comes in your late 20s, early 30s when you just you really know the pitch you can go bombs away on. Those don't usually come when you're 25 unless you're Aaron Judge and playing in a Cracker Jack box, okay? And he doesn't. Bobby Jr. plays in an actual Major League Baseball stadium of appropriate dimensions. Yeah, I think he could hit 40 home runs this year. I think his high-end season this year is 40-40. And I know that is an absolute
that's definitely the high end,
season.
yeah.
That's the high end. That's the 90th percentile version of his season. Realistically, I expect very similar to what we had last year. 30 to 35 home runs, stolen bases in the 30 to 40 range, and a guy who improves his on-base percentage and some of the other statistics that come with it. I think that's what you should expect going into the season. I think below that is below normal expectation. I think above that is exceeding it. But I think matching last year's season would put me right in the range of that's what I anticipate from Bobby this year.
I can tell you at least what some of the betting markets have for Bobby Witt individually. It doesn't mean that these are the numbers, but it's always interesting. So Bobby Witt Jr. over under 29.5 home runs. There's a reason why that's where the number's at. We talked about it earlier, but I would bet if I was forced to over 29.5 home runs for Bobby Witt Jr. And then in terms of stolen bases for him, the number that they have set on that is 41.5.
They think he's going to run, man.
So theirs is 30-40, right? Their numbers are a 30-40 season.
That's a pretty good year.
Yeah. That's the type of player he is. I mean, that's how special of a player he is that we're like, okay, those over-unders make a whole lot of sense for someone of his caliber. And then, you know how we both feel on Cole Reagan strikeouts. I was pulling up Reagan's the actual number. And today, hopefully, he gets over 6. But for the season, 177.5.
What did he have last year?
And if you think like
if he makes 30 starts, I'd crush that over. But you just because he's never really done that in his NFL or his Major League Baseball career, it's hard to know.
And if you think like we both do, there's a chance. That's why we put a few bucks on to lead baseball in strikeouts. Well, then you obviously love the over for 177.5. Let's see.
Because it took 100 more than that to lead baseball.
That's his career numbers. I apologize. Hold on. Last year. That's spring training. Hold on. Strikeout numbers.
You're never going to find it.
Well, the issue is he had 89 with the Royals last year. There you go.
And how many?
In only 12 starts.
Yeah, the question
is.
So
he's going to start more than 12 games. Boy, I hope so. Something went terribly wrong.
2023, he averaged 6.6 strikeouts per 9.
Okay.
That's it? Oh, that's hits per 9. Sorry.
See, 10.6. I can't look before he came to the Royals. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like he's a different pitcher now.
Yeah.
So
he averaged 10 strikeouts per 9. I looked at the wrong stat. 10 strikeouts per 9, man. I mean,
yeah, I'm on the over today. I think you are as well. Over 6 strikeouts for.
Let's say he makes 6 innings a start, 30. So he pitches 180 innings this year, right?
Okay.
You're telling me, okay, so and he's striking out more than 1 per inning. I mean, you're over. Like it's well over that, by the way, because you would add in another 1 strikeout per start. You'd be at 220. 230. I mean, there's a chance he crushes that number, but he has to make 30 starts. That's really the question you're asking yourself. Not how many people can Cole Reagan strike out.
Well, he's had
it's how many starts can Cole Reagans make.
We know the history. It's why it's been a great story. I mean, he's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. I think I saw a stat today. He's the second pitcher in baseball history to have 2 Tommy Johns and start on an opening day. After that, and the other was Nate Eovaldi. So anyway, just a weird random baseball stat, but I saw that today. All right, coming up next, thinking of baseball stats, a guy that knows everything about this team over the last decade plus, Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. He joins us next here from Kauffman Stadium.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's
Clear.
Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
If you're a pro and flooring is your game, we'll help you win it. Because at LL Flooring, all we do is floors. You want decor?
Try.
You want plumbing?
You're out.
LL Flooring has been helping pros knock it out of the park for over 30 years. Visit one of our 400 nationwide warehouses for one-on-one service, extensive inventory, and exclusive pro pricing.
All right.
Get the pro treatment you deserve. Enroll today, online or in-store. LL Flooring, every step covered.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You've heard him on national radio. You've seen him on every major network on television. He's Kevin Todd from thesportsbrokers.com. Today, Kevin is releasing his college basketball tournament game of the year. Free on a recorded message. Kevin absolutely loves this matchup. To get this winner, call 888-320-7517. It's a recorded message. If you're looking for dogs that win outright and favorites that cruise to victory, Kevin Todd is your guy. The industry standard is set by Kevin Todd. Get today's winner absolutely free. That's right, absolutely free on a recorded message. Call 888-320-7517. Kevin Todd and the Sports Brokers love this game. Get his college basketball tournament game of the year absolutely free right now. Call 888-320-7517. That's 888-320-7517. Kevin Todd turns outcomes into incomes. Get this winner absolutely free. 888-320-7517. Kevin loves this game. Call now 888-320-7517. Absolutely free on a recorded message.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
This March, Wendy's has some amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it.
Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available only. Contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a realtor can help answer. Because realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine.
When JJ was on, it was bad like that. Yeah. Nothing we can do, really.
One dose.
Right.
Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help.
We got about a minute left.
From 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law
15.
Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Brought to you by Ashley Furniture.
Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale. With Hot Buys, your choice of colors starting at just $3.99. Ashley Sleep mattresses start at $2.50. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases. Only at Ashley.
Now here we go. Back here on Cody and Gold, we're broadcasting outside Gate D, Kauffman Stadium, opening day 2024, 3:10 first pitch. And, of course, before then, Vern's got his on-deck show at 2 o'clock. But he also joins us right now, our Royals insider, hanging out before we get to opening day, officially first pitch. I know you're fired up. You're back from Arizona. I was expecting a full tan or something. Nothing.
No. Vern puts on the sunscreen. He's smart about it.
I cover myself in the sunscreen, and when you have a big old bald head, that's what you got to do.
His wife's a nurse. She's not going to just let him get fried out there.
Well, that's smart. Yeah, that's very smart on the sunscreen part. But you tell. We were talking to you a year ago at this time, and at that point, little did we know what we were in for.
No, we knew they were going to stink.
56.
I just didn't think they'd be that bad.
Did you know 56 though? You thought 56 bad?
56, 66. When you stink,
okay.
You stink.
Okay.
I was sending out the sirens from spring training last year.
Your siren was evaluation season.
Got enough pitching.
So here we are.
Do they have enough pitching?
They do right now. An injury here, an injury there, and suddenly the answer once again is, can Daniel Lynch regain the form that we've seen in flashes? They lose an arm out of the bullpen. Is what we saw from James MacArthur last September the real deal? As of right now, yeah, certainly they have enough pitching. Now, Brady and Cole remain question marks, but look, in the past, we've gone into season saying, all right, if Lynch and Kowar and Mondesi can break out this season, that's when the Royals will compare.
At least Bobby Witt Jr. is already a star.
Right.
Mondesi was a guy we thought could be a star. I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is. He's in the Major League Baseball promos for all of baseball saying baseball is here.
Yeah, but Bobby isn't someone that we have a question about going into the season.
No.
We did for Lynch in the past, and Bubic and Singer and Kowar and Mondesi. This year the questions are around Reagans and Melendez and Singer. I've told you guys those are my three keys to the season. Those guys have warranted that type of pressure, that type of anticipation, that type of expectations placed on their shoulders. When we're doing that to Daniel Lynch 2 years ago or Adalberto Mondesi 3 years ago, they had done nothing in the game for an elongated period of time to warrant that type of pressure, that type of expectation. Melendez, Reagan, Singer, whoever else you want to throw in there, they have. Even a Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, they've shown you more than the guys you were banking on for the past half decade.
JJ said, he was on with us, he was talking about MJ, and I know we've talked a lot about him because he's an intriguing player from a talent perspective. He said, we still think he can hit 35 homers. Yeah. Are we still there with MJ? And the season goes right, things hit right, he's a 35 home run guy?
Well, 35 home runs in the history of the franchise has happened
3 times.
3 times?
Balboni, Soler, Moustakas, right? That's it?
I think so.
Bobby might do it this year, but
yeah. Can he hit 35 home runs? Yeah. I don't think this is the ballpark for him to do it. He certainly has that type of power, but again, Adam Frazier was breathing down the neck of Michael Massey and MJ Melendez. And you've seen how this organization has treated 2024, from giving Reagans the ball on opening day to relegating Lyles to the bullpen to giving Alec Marsh the number 5 spot. Yeah. Nick Prado starting the season in AAA. The leash that MJ had for the first half of last season will not be duplicated in 2024. If he stinks in the middle of May, I think he'll be on his way out and we'll have a new left fielder.
What about Michael Massey? He's not starting the season. He's got some back issues right now. So Adam Frazier, who you just mentioned, is in the lineup today. Is there even a leash, I guess, on Michael Massey? As much as the injury.
He's going to have to work his tail off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Can Frazier just hold on to that job if he's playing well?
Well, him and Lofton. Yeah. Nick Lofton raked in
great spring.
And if you look at when he got opportunities last September, the guy, now he wasn't 2-hit wit, but he was a hit and a half if you're betting the over-under on if Lofton's in the lineup and it's a half a hit. I'm guessing he gets 3 opportunities, he's going to come away with at least a base knock. No, Michael Massey's going to have to hit the ground running in Omaha and force the organization to bring him up, because I don't think Adam Frazier is going to let it go anytime soon, and Nick Lofton hasn't given me a reason to believe that he's going to be on his way out. Now, a very small sample size for Lofton, but a small sample size of success for Massey as well.
Who are you, other than the 3 Reagans, Melendez, who are you, I guess, most intrigued by heading in that you feel like, other than the 3 biggest names that everybody will point to? Is there somebody else you think we're not talking about enough?
Someone in AAA?
That we're not talking enough about. I think it's a great reflection on Michael Garcia that he's very seldomly brought up. It honestly feels look, Bobby and Salvi are in a class by themselves. I think Vinny's in a second tier by himself. But it sure does feel, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, that Royals fans have Maikel Garcia closer to Vinny than they do that gaggle of Massey, Melendez, the question marks.
I'm scared of Maikel. I'm worried that regression makes sense for a guy. Because if he just stops getting on base, does his value hold the same?
Well,
he's a great defender, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, no, his value holds because he can play shortstop at a league average level and I think can hit at a league average level. But if you look at his second half of the season, he was just picking up singles here and there. The OPS was well below league average.
Yeah.
So a regression, you certainly can't afford it. And that's, look, the margin for error certainly isn't as razor thin as it's been in years previous, but it's not as if the talent down in Omaha is ready-made. It's Drew Waters, it's Nick Prado, it's Tyler Gentry, Daniel Lynch, John McMillan, a few guys that you say,
it's not bad.
I know they have talent. It's certainly better than the team you put out there last season. Maikel's the first name that jumped out to me just because of what happened, or what he went through this offseason, the amount of winning.
He was incredible in Venezuela.
And if you just look at his last 12 months, what he learned about himself, not only am I a big leaguer, but I'm a consistent, everyday big leaguer, both at the dish and defensively. He's a guy that I think, and I wouldn't be shocked if we end the season and he's an exclamation point. He's in that group with Salvi. He's in that group with Vinny where you know what you're going to get every single day. And as far as an arm, I'm hoping James MacArthur's the closer by the midpoint of the season, or at least him and Will Smith are platooning that final 3 outs.
Does he have hidden power potential? Because like what I saw in winter ball, you're like, wow. I mean, he was one of the best players in the entire league during that run and had real power. Is there hidden power there with Maikel? Because that was always my thing. Like I had told Gold maybe like a week ago, I'm like, the only Royals have done every single thing that is normal, advanced baseball over the last 12 months, right? And that starts with like putting in Marsh instead of Lyles, but like the way they construct their lineup, the way they've gone about business has been in a more modern sense, the way the analytic people handle the sport. Except Garcia hitting leadoff. Normally, Garcia, a guy who doesn't have power, would hit lower in the order, in my opinion. Typically,
so who would be leadoff then?
Probably Bobby. I know most teams have put Bobby as the number 2 hitter because the best hitter's been hitting 2 since they've made the full transition. But if it's not him, and I understand that, you'd be like, if it's not him, then who is it? It'd be Bobby, and everything would just shift down.
Yeah. I think they want to be more of a speed team.
And they have a lot of speed.
Bobby, Vinny, Salvi as your 1, 2, 3. That's I'm hoping that Maikel can be the leadoff guy every year. Is there hidden power in there? I think there's doubles power. I think he's a gap-to-gap guy.
I'll take a 30 double season. That's fine.
No, I don't see him as a 20 home run guy.
No.
We're talking to Josh Vern, our Royals insider. Of course, Vern's On Deck show. The first one of 2024 gets going at 2 o'clock today. I'd asked you about the division before. We asked J.J. Piccolo about the division and just like the gap between each team. It's not like one team is just clearly 20 wins better than anybody or anything like that. You would agree? Still at that point, based off of what we've seen?
Yeah. I still think Minnesota's the
class of the division.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say the class. They're certainly the favorites, but I have questions in their rotation. I mean, they're going to throw Bailey Ober in the first series of the season, not to crush them too much, but I'm perfectly fine with Singer going up. I feel just as confident.
That's a good matchup.
Brady Singer as I do Bailey Ober. But when you start to go through all the facets of the game, beginning on the bench, I think the loss to Tito Francona can't be overstated in Cleveland. I think that's going to be a big hit. The amount of injuries that they've already taken out of their bullpen in Cleveland's going to be big. The closer for the Twins, Duran's already banged up. I'll put it this way. There's no reason why the Royals should finish any worse than third place. Rotation-wise, I think only Cleveland can say that they're better than the Royals. Offensively, I think only Minnesota can say we are definitely better than Kansas City. Defensively, there's no way the Royals are worse than third. Base running-wise, I think they're top 2 in the division. And then bullpen-wise, Cleveland, Minnesota get the edge there. But, again, Royals are top 3 in all 5 facets.
Defensively, you mentioned that. It's interesting because last year they were not nearly as good defensively, I think, as we have grown accustomed to in Kansas City. Do you anticipate that being better? You said, no worse than third. What's funny is, like, Bobby's a legit shortstop. Garcia, Massey had an argument to be goal. Like, what? Was it just bad outfield defense? Why did they struggle so much last year there? Besides the errors or youth or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that they were awful last year defensively.
I just thought they were way more mediocre than I'm used to.
Sure. Well, MJ's.
Yeah.
MJ was learning a new position at the big league level. Again, it was an evaluation season. This is why we were sending out the distress signals last spring. You got a guy that's been a catcher, and you're going to have him learn left field at the big league level. You're taking a first baseman in Nick Pratto, and you're going to have him learn left field. At the big league level, you have Drew Waters and Nate Eaton out there going at 120 miles per hour and airmailing the cutoff man. I mean, they were just very young, immature, at times stupid baseball players.
Yeah.
So you're hoping that the intelligence of the overall team, the baseball IQ has risen. I believe it has. And talking with Matt Quatrero at the end of spring training, he said he was very intentional with attention to detail to make sure we're all using the same verbiage, the way that whether you're Spanish speaking, English speaking, we're all using the same words out there on the diamond. And it was pretty neat watching them go through the focus on the attention to detail, because no matter what the drill was, Bobby and Salvi were always at the front of the line. You remember last year, Freddie Fermin lays down that beautiful safety squeeze.
Yeah.
Royals win it, a walk-off.
They did it the next night on a walk-off bunt?
Yeah, you're going to be seeing more and more of that. So they're running the drill in spring training, and Salvi, you don't have to do this, and yet he fights his way to the front of the line, drops down just an absolutely perfect safety squeeze. And when you have the kind of buy-in from two of the best players on the planet, it's easy to trickle down to everyone else. So I expect them to be a smarter team, both on the base paths and defensively, because Bobby's brought it up every time you talk to him. He got thrown out on the base paths way too often last year.
You mentioned the bullpen earlier in our conversation and in the revamping the bullpen. Right now, it looks like Will Smith's going to get the very first crack at being the closer. Do you feel like we're going to be still saying he's the closer, I guess, here in 2 months? Like, how confident are you in him? Or do you think MacArthur has a real chance to take that job? Because they want it to be Will Smith, clearly. That's what they're going into the season with, right? Or no?
Well, they convinced Will Smith to come here by giving him that opportunity right
We're
out of
going to
the
make
gate.
you the closer.
But Will Smith is also a champion. Mm-hmm. If he sees a guy that I believe has the best stuff out there in James MacArthur, if he sees him carving dudes up in high-leverage situations over the first week of the season, and then a save situation comes up and it's a predominantly right-handed lineup, I don't think Will Smith is going to cause a stink if Q calls on
He's not going to go cry foul.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think that's reflective of a clubhouse that is all finally tugging on the same end of the rope. I know that sounds cliche, but that wasn't the case last year. That hasn't been the case over the past few seasons. And with Matt Quatrero's desire to use all 26 to ride leverage throughout the game, you got to have that buy-in. So out of the gate, I expect MacArthur to be the fireman, but eventually take over those final 3 outs.
How big of a difference do you think it is to have Vinny in the middle of the order versus last year? Like, how much better are they offensively that Vinny Pasquantino would play 145 games versus 60?
Well, getting the best pure hitter on your team is going to help the offense. You lose Vinny, you lose Salvi, you lose Bobby. You know, unless MJ or Mike Hell becomes that power hitter that you're talking about, they can't withstand that. Again, the talent down at AAA isn't deep enough, and there are just way too many question marks in this offense right now. And that to me is the biggest question for the first 6 weeks. That's what's going to dictate whether or not this team sinks or swims in the deep end. Can they offensively back up this pitching staff, this revamped pitching staff? I believe in Salvi. I believe in Bobby. I'm very high on Vinny Pasquantino. But the other 6 I could see going either way.
This is going to say a lot about your confidence in this team this year, Vern. Vinny owes us crown seats for losing a Jets-Chiefs bet last season. What time of year would you suggest we get those seats?
Yeah.
Consider both weather and record. look, we're not trying to be out here September 15th if, the team's not competitive. We want it to still matter a little bit,
Well,
giveaway might matter too, but
Yeah, I would say I think it's late May that the Oakland A's come to town.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the 2014 reunion that
Ooh,
weekend.
I like
where
that.
the
10 years.
Nice.
HDH bobblehead. For as optimistic as you should be right now, before you get to June.
Fern's out here. Now I understand. So before you're out here giving
Maybe it's
us
June. Maybe it's late June.
Fern's out here giving us an Oakland A's series or whatever. But I hear.
Sorry.
Come on, but a cool bobblehead giveaway.
It'd be a cool
we can see HGH up close, dude. We'd be
Billy
sitting right
Butler
behind
will be
home
there,
plate.
Yeah, that's
Get
fair.
hit with sweat.
That's fair. Get hit with sweat.
That's a Seinfeld reference.
So we'll see. I think that's definitely in the mix. There's some other games, like you said. Also, if the team gets off to a hot start in April, and then maybe you're more confident picking a July day.
The Dodgers
June
don't come here, and
No,
who
not.
other than the Dodgers do you really care about?
And
No,
like,
it's about
will
the
Shohei
Royals.
be on the team by then?
Yeah,
I'm joking,
I'd
obviously.
rather see James Shields and Lorenzo Cain than I would Aaron Judge and Juan Soto.
Yeah, okay, fair. That's very fair. All right, I want to run through, and maybe you can tell us if we're off base. There's a couple season-long bets, Fern, that I made. I think there's a couple that Cody made as well.
Yep.
First of all, Vinny Pasquantino, AL Comeback Player of the Year, 9-1. You like that bet that I made?
Sure. I don't know who else.
He's got second best odds.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, he's gonna be in the lineup all year. If he,
Can I be honest?
Okay.
The Royals are way too sexy of a pick. Everyone's jumping on
Well,
Bobby. Everyone's taking
Vern,
the Royals.
I
Everyone's
agree.
taking Cole Reagans. I am running the other way.
Well, so I tweeted this out yesterday. Someone responded and said, "Oh, I have some of the similar bets." Some guy doesn't even live in Kansas City, not even a Royals fan.
Not good.
And I'm like, no,
Not good.
because I bet
That's not what I wanted to
I'll be
hear.
honest.
Good.
Selfishly, I'm obviously happy. I got Reagan strikeout leader 80-1. 2.5 months ago, and now everybody's on it. It's
And what's
not,
it at
Yeah,
now?
who cares? They got it
it's
at a
like
way worse number than you.
25-1.
Oh, well, then good for you.
Right, but to your
No, it is
point,
scary.
I'm like, no,
It's a different bet.
Morosi's picking Cy Young winner Cole Reagans
Don't like
yesterday.
it. So maybe that makes you look elsewhere. Maybe a Tarek Skubal in Detroit.
And then Bobby Wood Jr. stolen base leader, 12-1. Okay, is that just Acuna's in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. Well, and then Ruiz in Oakland. Bobby's making.
Yeah, Ruiz might get 65 stolen bases this year.
And let's not forget the Royals did just promise Bobby $300 million. So they are telling him, hey, if you go, you got to be safe and you got to be smart.
True.
I've mentioned it to you before. You look at Mike Trout when he turned about 26, which is still a couple of years away for Bobby. Really started to dial back those stolen bases.
So you think this could be the last year of it?
But it has been a conversation within the organization about, scaling back the aggressiveness on the base pass when it comes to Bobby Witt Jr.
Well, I think part of the
I don't
reason,
like hearing that.
Look, the truth is because Bobby getting paid what he gets paid, he should be a 40 home run guy before he should be a 70 stolen base guy. Like, I understand the argument that, like, you could hypothetically do both and, like, yes, just be Ronald Acuna Jr. and just go for it. But, I mean, Bobby has that kind of potential. I'd rather just see him pick his spots and be that kind of player. It's so hard with Bobby because the sights can't be high enough where you're just like, what's the 95th percentile version of Bobby? It's like an unstoppable hitting and stealing home run machine. But, like, realistically, I would take a repeat of last year borderline. Like, like that would be
the second half.
Yeah.
You got to get off to a better start. There's just inexcusable this year. Inexcusable. I don't want to hear any. There's just no excuses for a poor April from Bobby Witt Jr. None.
And therefore, what about for the team? I mean, you've mentioned the schedule a lot, Vern. 19 of 32 against playoff teams from a year ago, right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling it the deep end, because everyone from ownership's aggressiveness to the front office to the coaching staff, not tiptoeing around expectations, no timidness from the coaching staff. No, Cole, you're our guy. Go get him. Right? Alec Marsh, you're blowing dudes away. Here's a spot in the rotation. The organization, the front office, the coaching staff, they've done everything that they can do. The players are all saying the right things. Like I mentioned, it honestly does feel for the first time in almost a decade as if all 26 are tugging on the same end of the rope. Everything's in front of them. It's wild to think that a team that won a 56 games, lost 106 just a year ago, is now one of the sexy picks in Major League Baseball. But the reason why we're here is you have an MVP candidate, you have a Cy Young Award candidate, you have an aggressive owner, GM, coaching staff. It's all there in front of them, but it is a very difficult schedule. The only thing left to do is to survive, to last in the deep end. Can you sink, or will you sink, or can you swim in the deep end? It's the first 6 weeks of the season. I don't care how they do it, backstroke, breaststroke, doggy paddle, just maintain through the month of May, and then I think the rest could be a lot of fun, because that means Bobby and MJ, that means Cole Reagans has some confidence, Brady Singer's probably spun a few gems. If you can give this team some confidence going into the summer months, I think it could be scary. We all remember what a little bit of confidence did for Mike Moustakas, what it did for Eric Hosmer, what it did for that championship team. You give these guys some wins early on, it could be quite the magic carpet ride.
I think we need to start. We can backtrack it a little bit, but you need some T-shirts every year, Vern, that you release for your theme.
Oh, there you go.
I think you need some deep end T-shirts this year.
Yeah,
and we need, we can.
You guys are the T-shirt guys.
It's the deep end.
I've asked for a Coke Party Porch shirt. That's about it. And
yeah, what do you make of the?
Ray guns out.
You've been out there yesterday for workouts and everything. Yeah. Some new signage out there.
Nice.
You know, they got the giant QT, but also no more Pepsi Party Porch. And Cody wants to call it the Coke Party Porch. The Royals probably didn't want to call it Coke Party Porch. It's the Quick Trip Fountain Deck or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because of cocaine.
Coke.
Yeah.
Wait, that's why they don't want to call it that?
I'm happy to see signage out there, because that means someone wants to spend money with this organization. I'm not even joking.
No, it means they think that there's more expectation. There's something to be excited about.
Came out last year, it was just like a raccoon running by and tumbleweed and 610 logo, and that was it.
Yeah. This feels like the most excited most people have been for opening day since 2016.
Oh, no question.
I mean, 2017 I made an argument, but I told him it was a somber excitement where you're like, well, this is the last I'll get to see all these players I like.
It was somber because Giordano just passed.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no question that this is the most.
And 16 was right off a World Championship, so everybody was excited. The Royals were wearing the gold lettered jerseys, and everybody was in a great mood.
Yeah. So this is the most since 2016.
No question. Yep.
Vern, appreciate it, man. We're going to be listening throughout the entire season. First one on deck show, 2 o'clock, right?
Looking forward to it. I'll have a pair of tickets to see the Royals and the Orioles Friday night at the K.
Beautiful. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, will join us every Wednesday throughout the season on our show. And, of course, you hear him before and after every Royals game right here on 610 Sports Radio. Up next, we will talk a little bit more about the anticipation for this opening day and what this month mean. Plus, the voice of the Royals, Ryan Lefevre, stops by here outside Kauffman Stadium on 610 Sports Radio.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Don't forget to follow Cody and Gold on the Odyssey app so you can listen on demand to my terrific football takes throughout the year right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code KOSTOS, KOSTOS, and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. This U.S. promotional offer not available in D.C., Mississippi, North Carolina, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY for New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. For West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically. which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
By Kelsey, touchdown, Kansas City, and the Chiefs have won.
Mitch Oltis here. There's nothing like a game at Arrowhead. For over 50 years, we've shared incredible moments and created unforgettable memories there. Now we've got to keep it going. On April 2nd, vote yes on question 1 to keep the Chiefs here in Jackson County, with real benefits for every community. New renovations at Arrowhead, and you don't pay any additional taxes. Chiefs Kingdom, this is a golden era of sports, and together we have built a major league city. There's no place like Arrowhead. Let's keep it going.
Intercepted! It's intercepted! Kansas City, you've got a champion!
On April 2nd, vote yes on question 1 so we can keep the Chiefs in Jackson County.
Paid for by the committee to keep the Chiefs and Royals in Jackson County. Whitney Beaver, Treasurer.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio.
10 seconds.
Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brady Singer. Tune in to Burns On Deck Show 1 hour before first pitch right here on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, you guys on.
Cody and Gold back here outside Kauffman Stadium, getting set for opening day. And in 1 hour, we'll hand things off to Vern for his on-deck show. We're a little over 2 hours away from first pitch of 2024. Cole Reagan's going to take the bump for the Royals at 3:10 right here on your home for the Royals, 610 Sports Radio. We're expected to be joined by the voice of the Royals, Ryan Lefevre, in about 15 minutes or so, get his perspective on how he's feeling about this year. And we'll ask him the same question we've been asking everybody, not only what the standing of the Royals are now in this division, but also where this opening day stacks up over the last decade, or at least the last 8 years or so.
It seems like Vern agrees with us.
Yeah.
Since 2016, and I hadn't thought about the Giordano end of that too, which completely did change the atmosphere of opening day.
And we know, look, there's also this game and the backdrop, a vote happening on Tuesday in Jackson County, right here in Jackson County. And it has to do with that 3/8 cent sales tax extension. I have to point out a tweet I saw during the break. I guess it happened 40 minutes ago, but I just saw it. From Jackson County Executive Frank White, Royals Hall of Famer. And it was a throwback Thursday.
Tired number, man.
Yeah. Throwback Thursday, opening day 2023, he tweets. A lot can happen in a year, ...
Okay.
From a friend and Royals Hall of Famer to an unpopular and desperate politician.
Ooh.
So what's the best bar in Jackson County to watch today's game? And it's a photo of him and John Sherman on the steps of the dugout last year. I would say, so now we're playing the woe is me card, I guess. Also, people...
Are you surprised they didn't invite you? You were actively against his plan.
Also, the whole, unpopular politician thing or whatever. Yeah, maybe it has something to do with the property taxes too. Maybe, just maybe, the fact that the property taxes, that might play a huge role. They're playing this martyr though and woe is me thing. Give me a break.
There's a lot of that with Frank this day. And look, I hate for that to turn into opening day because again, it is. I told you it'll be weird. As many opening days as I've been to at Decay, and I got to be honest, I think it might be 10 or 15 now. Between the ones I went to as a kid, Gold, and the number that I've gotten to cover, God, I've probably been to 8 of the last 10, 9 of the last 10 here in Kansas City alone. So maybe 20 opening days I've gone to in my life. It will be weird for it not to be here anymore, to be looking across the parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium and for these two stadiums to be together if this vote is to pass on Tuesday. But what do you expect? Last year, you weren't actively in the public voicing your complete hate of something they want. You and I host a show together. If I had decided, you're voicing a complete disagreement with someone. What do you think? They're just going to roll out the red carpet and be like, come on out, Frank. Let's it doesn't make sense.
We also don't know for sure, was he not? I'm just basing off his.
Not banned from the stadium.
Yeah, we don't know.
Go.
Well, we also just, I have no idea who was invited, who wasn't invited, who was offered tickets, who wasn't offered tickets. I have no clue. I'm just basing it off of his tweet. It just seems like, just playing the woe is me card here a little bit. There's a lot of reasons why maybe you're not as popular.
Yeah, I don't know. No
matter what, this could be one of the, the final 4 or 5 opening days. At Kauffman Stadium, because we know no matter what, when the lease is up, they're not playing at Kauffman. Whether the vote never passes or anything like that, the 2031 for sure will be the last opening day, if not 2030.
And he's made it very clear, John Sherman and others, that if the stadium project doesn't work out in its current form on Tuesday, the plan is not still to keep staying at Kauffman. One way or the other, they're going to have a stadium or go to a stadium in a different location. Their plan is not here forever. And honestly, if you think that that's just the Royals, it's not. The Chiefs want the Royals out of this location. You might not like their plan, but they love their plan, and it's just not simply going to work that way. They want the activation zone. They want the renovations and the extra parking and the things that they want out of their new building. Those things, one way or the other, are there. It is weird. It's just weird to think about the fact that this might be one of the final few. So I'll be honest, I'll be excited for the first opening day ever at the downtown ballpark if you and I are lucky enough to still be doing the show sitting outside the stadium talking to you from there.
Sure. And if it passes, obviously, on Tuesday, and that's a big if come Tuesday. It's going to be very close, I think, for no matter what the outcome is. But, yeah, you and I have been pretty outspoken about downtown baseball and other markets and other cities we've been to and why that's a great thing in our opinion and what that means, and it's a different setup and vibe. It's not to say that Kauffman's not a great experience. That's what we're going to experience today. I'm looking forward as much as anybody, just like everybody else listening that's coming out to opening day. When we're off the air, we're going to the game as fans. We're not sitting in the press box tonight, this afternoon. We're going to sit in the stands, and that's fun. I'm excited, man. We Dusty and Vern, we were talking off air. They're like, man, are you guys hungry? I'm like, yeah, I am starving. Trust me, opening day, I can't wait to have a hot dog in the ballpark and a beer and some peanuts. Trust me, I've been craving that all day. So I'm very much looking forward to 2 o'clock when we head into the stadium and hand things off to Vern. But look, this year's team and why we're excited, other than everybody's always optimistic about opening day all across baseball. I don't care whether you're still an A's fan or you're a Yankees fan. You're optimistic on opening day. The difference this year is they made moves to give you a real reason to not just have the opening day and then forget about it excitement,
Sure.
but to be excited for hopefully a little while. And if this team is going on this first 20 or 32 game stretch, and they're able to be 500. Be right around 500. Nobody's asking, as I said, the bar's low. Nobody's asking them to go through the first 32 games and win 20 of 32.
No,
like that. That's not nobody. Nobody's suggesting that. Can you be 500? The bar's low.
I just wonder, because I was trying to decide, and I had forgotten about the Giordano thing earlier. Just that was that year's opening day, not what took place, obviously, but that was that year's opening day, and that was a huge part of what took place that day and what was on people's mind that day. But the reason why I'm excited is not just because it's because I actually have hope for the team. In talking to Vern, he signaled to you and to the entire city, someone who covers the team as much as anybody, they don't have it. It ain't there. That this is an evaluation year. The Royals organization told you that. And look, sadly, sometimes that's the position that you're in, that you are in an evaluation year, and you got to find out whether or not these players can be good enough. And they took that information, Gold, and they didn't just sit on it. They didn't just pray. They didn't just decide to go the Houston Astros route and just stink for years and years to try to reset this thing. They tried to solve their problems right away instead. They went out and they tried to solve their rotation issues. They tried to solve their bullpen issues, and they put together a qualified Major League Baseball offense. So, yeah, I'm excited about the possibilities because if they got it right, and I understand in sports that's a big if. If they got it right with the players they have, and that the young players they are sticking by are correct, well, then we're in the 2013 version of the Royals, and it's about to start getting competitive again. The team's about to start mattering again. They could be 500 or better again. They could be in a conversation in July again. That's why I'm excited.
And the uphill climb, that is still an uphill climb, still not as big as other divisions. And I'll keep going back to that, knowing the AL Central. I mean, it's
they're not trying to win the AL East.
Yeah, I mean, 56 wins a year ago. I mean, you and I are saying 76, 77, 78. Drew's saying 77. I'm at 78. You're at 76. I mean, we're all in the same ballpark range
we are.
Of wins, but that's a 20 that's a 20 win improvement. That's huge. But also in another division, a 20 win improvement, you still might be in last place. In this division, I think if they win 20 more games, they're at least finishing third. Yeah, and that's kind of where I have them actually finishing. As our tent just completely.
Give me 1 sec. I'm going to solve that, Gold. You keep talking.
Away. I will keep talking. As the tent for the first time today just completely slid and almost blew away on us. But a lot of it has to do with the AL Central. I mean, in knowing that the division you're going to go up against is one in which there's plenty of room for you to improve, and they shouldn't be that much better than you, even the team that's going to finish in first place. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at for this. Well, you guys can text in 913-586-7610. What's your win total? We all do this. Come on now. We all put a number on it.
And I hold you accountable. I don't like people who are either like, I told you they'd stink and only win 59, or I told you they'd be amazing and they were going to win 96. Put a number to it. That way we can hold you accountable. I'll tell you what, we better lower this before we go.
We will. I think we'll do that. And also, I think the weights are upside down, but on two of those over there. That's why they have the little, I don't know if it matters for why
those
it was
feet?
blowing. Yeah, see how there's like the little sticky pad grip things or whatever you want to call them?
You think that's going to make a difference?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
This is the only one that stayed on.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's in the corner. So
this would have been even worse than the last time the tent blew away on us.
We will lower the tent before we go in the stadium.
That seems wise.
Yeah. That's the one thing. Look, hey, we'll still take the win. You're always going to have wind in Kansas City and all that, but for this time of the year, we'll take the 65-degree temperatures. Text line says a ripe 69. Someone else says 72, and I don't know if that, like you said, who was texting in 161-1. So I don't know when they think that one loss is happening. I would love to know, when do you think the one loss is actually happening?
Yeah.
Someone says Vegas has it right, 73. Someone says the one game lost is Bobby Witt's day off. So whatever day off they give to Bobby Witt. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. That's the text line perspective on it at this point in time as we get closer and closer to first pitch out here in Kauffman Stadium. And it's always a pleasure to have the voice of the Royals, Ryan Lefevre, join us as he does just about, I think, every opening day or so. We like to catch up with you. How many years is this now for you?
26, believe it or not.
Ooh, 26 opening days.
Yeah, yep.
Where does this rank out of 26?
Yeah, the windiest.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Which is not true because there are usually pretty windy days this time of year when we're saying goodbye to winter and saying hello to spring, but can't argue with all the sunshine.
Yeah, you get used to it a little bit. No, we were saying since, just in the recent run, this is the most excited we've been for an opening day since 2016, and a lot of that is expectation-based. I think based on it's a lot of it is Cole Reagans is a Cy Young candidate, possibly, and Bobby Wood Jr. is an MVP candidate, possibly, and they didn't just rest on their laurels for a bad team after evaluating where they were and took shots. I'm hopeful for what this year brings.
Well, I've never had an off season like this before, and I always defer to Denny if I think something is unique. And with this being his 56th year, he says 56. They've never had an off season like this before. So, yeah, it's exciting. And we've had years where the team has improved on paper during the off season, but they did a little bit of everything. I mean, they upgraded in the outfield, they upgraded on the infield, they added some depth to catcher. They updated the starting rotation. They added 4 guys to the bullpen. I mean, so there isn't one area that we go into the season and say, they really didn't address this. What are they going to do about that? Now, some young guys have to take the next step and improve upon what they did last year, but it really feels like they, as everyone likes to say today, checked all the boxes.
Should we treat that more as an unknown? I always wonder with that because, some of the guys they brought in are just veterans, solid veterans that normally will give you a certain level of performance versus last year where there was a lot more unknown. It's I asked JJ the same question, is it hard to know for sure that an entire group, it's 19 different people than last year's opening day roster.
Yeah.
Is it hard to know for sure that they'll all work together?
I don't think so much with this team because the guys that are here have bounced around somewhat in their careers. They know what it's like to go from one team to another. Most of them have won at some point. Gone either, if not.
Will Smith's won a lot.
I mean, all the way to the World Series. Yeah, 3 World Series, 3 years with 3 teams for Will Smith. So I'm not as concerned about that. And also, too, there isn't really one guy that we point to or a group of guys that say these 3 have to have a huge year. I mean, if everyone just does what they're supposed to do.
Sure.
And for the veterans, if they just stay within what they've done over the course of their career, then the Royals are going to have a huge improvement this year. When I get stopped and people ask, are you excited about the team or what excites you most about the team, I keep going back to the same answer that we have asked a lot of young players the last 2 years just because there were no other options.
Sure.
The good news is that they've gotten a lot of experience and a lot of playing time. The bad news is we've asked a lot of young players to do things they weren't quite ready to do as far as carry the club and be in positions where you'd like to have a veteran. Well, now you have a combination of young players who have experience and old players who are going to be able to carry more of the burden. So the young players, their role on this team aligns with their major league service. We're not asking them to ramp up their service. Hey, we need you to go out and play like a 5-year guy when it's only your first or second year. So I think the pressure and the burden of getting through a 6-month season now is spread more evenly.
I think it's notable, too, though, the guy starting today. I mean, Cole Reagans, we know what he did the minute pretty much he walked in the door here after the trade. But to make him the opening day starter, that's the guy the fans wanted, I think, to start. There's a lot of excitement and buzz around him. But when you look at just who he's been as his story and everything, the fact that they made him the opening day starter, does that say anything to you, a bigger picture about how they view him in this organization?
Yeah, Alex, think about players that have become the guy. It's a process. And I'll just pick Eric Hosmer. So Eric Hosmer was the guy as soon as he was drafted. And just being around him, even before he got to the big leagues, I remember we had an old fan fest at Bartle Hall, and he walked in the room, and if you didn't know anything about the Royals, you'd think he'd been a 7-year major leaguer. He handled, even during the ups and downs of his career, he handled the pressure of being the guy, and he ended up being the guy here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So I answer your question by saying, is a guy ready for this? Because it's easy to say, well, this is our ace, or this is our closer, or this is going to be our number 3 hitter. But then you have to say, are they ready for the emotional part of that? If they struggle in that role, can they hold it together? Do they think they have to? They have to add a pitch, or do they have to tinker with their swing or whatever? And that was the question that I asked J.J. Picola. It was the question that I asked Matt Quatrero. I mean, what happens in those 60 feet 6 inches looks like a number one guy and a chance to be a future ace. But he only made 12 starts for us last year. I mean, this is not a guy who's been in the big leagues for 2 or 3 years. So I asked, what part of, and that's one of the questions that I asked Matt Quatrero on the pregame show, what about just knowing that he can handle the pressure of all this, and nobody's concerned about it at all. And if you're around him, I mean, he's just so level-headed.
Yeah, he seems very collected.
He's one of my favorite guys to listen to when the game is over and he's pitched. He just breaks down his outings. I mean, he's very thoughtful, but he doesn't overthink it. So, I mean, he's must-watch TV and must listen to radio when he's on the mound, and I think and then after the game too to hear what he has to say.
Who do you think is being under-discussed for this team? Like, who's the player that if they do something and compete for this division and make a challenge for it that we should be keeping a closer eye on, especially early in the season?
Well, I go back to, there's so many of them, but the first name, the guy that I really admired last year was Maikel Garcia. I love the third base that he played. I remember when Mondesi was here, and I love the idea of having 2 shortstops on the left side of the infield. So you move him to third. I thought he was great. Some of his numbers were pretty good offensively last year, but he doesn't chase a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. He has a tough at-bat. He hits the ball to the opposite field. I think he's got a chance to be really, really good.
On last year, and he performed really well.
There were people in the organization, and let me preface what I'm about to say, that this is good when you have people thinking about different things. But there's some people that thought, let's move Bobby Witt Jr. to center field because we don't have a true center fielder.
Yeah.
That's on the edge of coming to the big leagues. Move him to center field. Let's put Maikel at shortstop because he's an excellent shortstop. I mean, there's some people in the organization who wanted to do that. So you move him to third. He handled it physically and he handled it emotionally. From what I can hear, there was no ego involved. He wasn't bitter because he wasn't the shortstop. I think he has a chance to be one of the most complete hitters in the lineup, and I think he has a chance to win a Gold Glove. So he's a guy that I think by the end of the year you can be, the league might take notice of Maikel Garcia.
Might take him, up in that range. Because I think Vernon said something similar where the way we think about him and look at him is like, we know what Bobby is. We talk about him and Salvi kind of differently. And then Vinny, we all just know he's a professional hitter. Like, there's no secret in that. Even though, some of the injuries, he's a professional hitter. If he's in the plate, you're good. With Maikel, it was always just a little bit of unknown. Is there more double power? Can he get on base at that rate? Are there more? I want to know how much more he has, I guess, is what it is.
And I think he's fine being in Bobby's shadow too. Some players.
It's kind of nice sometimes not having to have all the heat.
Some players want the spotlight, and some guys are just happy operating with where the team places him. And I get the feeling that he's that kind of a guy. I'm looking forward to seeing what MJ does after he had a better second half last year.
Great second half.
And then you already touched on Vinny, Cody, that just having him back in the lineup and his personality we're 9 years away from a World Series now, so there comes a point where we have to stop talking about 2015. But what 2015 did, outside of one of the best bullpens in baseball history, that was just a 25-man roster where everybody did their part. There wasn't 2 or 3 guys, going back to what we were talking about earlier. All 25 guys had a role. And this team has the chance where nobody has to set any records like Bobby did last year. Hopefully they do. But if enough guys do what they're supposed to do in this division, they can compete.
A couple more minutes with Ryan Lefevre here on 610 Sports Radio. You study the game as much as anybody. This division, how do you look at the AL Central and where the Royals fit into it, but also, as we've discussed with Vern earlier, it doesn't seem like there's a huge gap, though, even if you're the third-place team compared to the Twins, who the Royals are playing today, or a lot of people think they're the favorite to win this thing.
And I think they are on paper. They only won 87 games last year, and they've lost some players.
So regression's plausible.
So it's possible. They have a lot of players that have been hurt. So they have a lot of question marks, even though they've won 3 divisions in 5 years. And then it's the other 4 of us, But the Twins were also the only team in the division that had a winning record. So, I'm sure in Detroit right now they're talking about the Tigers finishing in second, and they hope to be better, and they went out and improved themselves as well. But they haven't proven yet that you can win more games than lose.
Sure.
And we love to imagine going from 100 losses to 90 wins, and it's, things like that can happen. But the more reasonable path to becoming a playoff contending team is that the team in the clubhouse has to not believe, but that we can play a baseball season and we can win more games than lose. And if you do that in this division, you're going to be in the hunt.
When you look at, so specifically with the Twins, do they seem ripe for regression for you? I mean, just because of the injuries going into the season and where they were last year, does it seem like a team that might fall back? Because that's the one to keep an eye on. I understand Skubal, they're probably talking about him the same way we're talking about Cole Reagan's here. Right? So they think that they've got a lot of ammunition. But, I look at the Twins, and that seems like the kind of team that could fall back.
Well, they have starting pitching. They've got a solid bullpen. They improved a lot last year defensively.
Yeah.
The only thing, my concern would be that they relied too much on the home run. They tied for the league lead last year in home runs. And there comes a point where you got to score a run without hitting a home run. And I was on the Twins flagship radio station last night talking about this, and they wanted to know my opinion of the Twins. And I said, look, I'm only operating on what I saw in 14 and 15 because people want to know, how did the Royals do it in 14 and 15? And remember those 2 years, they did knock anyone's eyes out offensively.
No, they were middle of the road.
But they didn't strike out, and they knew how to score one run. Because sometimes there's only one run out there to score. And when you're in the postseason and you're facing number 1 and number 2 starters every night, you got to be able to score one run because you're not going to be able to sit back and hit 3-run home runs. It's also 43 degrees outside. I mean, everything changes in the postseason. So I said, my only point of reference is the Royals took the strikeouts away from 1 and 2 starters, and they could score a run. If it was a tie game and they wanted to score a run, they would. If you're a team that relies on a home run all the time, that's not going to work in the postseason. So they stole some. I'm talking about back to Minnesota. They stole some more bases last year. So I think they have all the elements there, but health and more balance on offense, I think, would be 2 red flags for them.
Do you make a guess of how many wins they think they'll make? Do you do that anymore?
No. And I refuse to do it because I'm terrible at it. Predictions, I'm terrible at predictions.
They're hard.
I will predict, though. What was was it 13? Yeah, it was 13 that the Royals, or was it 14? It was 14 when the Royals got to the postseason the first time. I remember coming on the air, and we were at Comerica Park, and the Tigers, remember, were dominating the division that part, and we all talked about, if the Royals, the Royals had just been 10 games over 500 the year before, and we said, hey, if the Royals want to make a statement in the division, it all begins today because you got to go through Detroit. Well, it all begins today because they've got Minnesota at home. And the Royals lost 9 of the first 10 last year against Minnesota, and we were swept here last year for the first 3 games.
Didn't score a run for the first 2 games.
Didn't score a run. Just looking at the notes, we didn't score a run till the 20th inning, and we didn't have a hit with runners in scoring position until the 27th inning. So let's hope we fix that in the first inning.
I was going to say, I think it will. I think it will happen in the first inning. Ryan Lefevre, always a pleasure to have you on the show, and we'll be listening coming up here a little bit later on.
All right, thanks, Alex.
There you go.
Thanks, Cody.
All right, coming up next here, we'll get to the big signing across the parking lot and our final thoughts on the season-long look for this 2024 Royal squad.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.